All right, so today we're diving into something that's kind of both exciting and a little bit, well, unnerving, to be honest.
Yeah.
Are we really in control of AI? Or is it starting to control us?
It's a good question a lot of people are asking.
For sure. And we've got some fascinating stuff to help us unpack this. Like, we've got insights straight from Sam Altman.
The CEO of OpenAI,
Yeah,
right.
exactly. The company behind all these, like, mind-blowing AI models, ChatGPT and all that.
Right. Yeah.
We've also got this like really thought-provoking video that goes deep into like what are the risks if AI gets too powerful.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
So where do we even begin with all this?
Well, one thing that really jumps out is that OpenAI's latest model, GPT-3, has actually officially achieved artificial general intelligence.
AGI.
Yeah, AGI.
Okay, hold on. AGI, that sounds like a massive leap. Like how do we even know for sure that GPT-3 is actually that intelligent?
So it passed this test, the ARC-AGI test, with flying colors. And this test, it's not just about, memorizing stuff. It actually measures reasoning. It measures understanding relationships between objects and, like, spatial reasoning.
Okay, so it's like it's actually thinking.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
To give you an idea, like, the average person scores, like, 80% on this test. And for an AI to even be considered AGI, it needs to hit at least 85%.
Hmm.
GPT-3 scored 87.5%.
So it's officially smarter than us in some ways.
Well, in those areas, yeah. It's
Yeah.
exceeding human capabilities.
That's impressive is an understatement, I think. But okay, so if AI is already surpassing us on certain tests, does that mean we're like on the fast track to the singularity?
The singularity.
That point where AI becomes so advanced it just like leaves us in the dust.
Yeah, that's the big one that everyone's talking about, right?
And we lose control.
Right. It's a fascinating concept. And honestly, it's still hypothetical. But the speed of AI development, yeah, it's raising some eyebrows. But Altman's perspective on this, on superintelligence, which is what OpenAI is ultimately aiming for, he sees it more as like amplifying human capabilities,
Yeah.
not necessarily replacing us.
Okay, so it's not about robots taking over the world, but more like humans and AI working together.
Exactly. He actually predicts that by like as early as 2025, we could see AI agents working alongside humans in all sorts of fields.
2025, that's just around the corner.
Right. It's coming up fast.
So, like what? AI doctors, AI lawyers?
Potentially, yeah. Imagine AI helping us make like medical diagnoses,
Yeah.
but with incredible accuracy. Or designing, personalized education plans for every student, or even assisting with complex legal cases.
That's a very different picture than the robot overlord scenario. But is that realistic? 2025 seems so soon.
It does, doesn't it? But OpenAI has been moving really fast since GPT-3. Like, they've released a bunch of new models, each one more sophisticated than the last.
But that rapid development, it brings us back to that question of control, right? OpenAI talks about this slow takeoff approach, where AI progresses gradually and we have time to like adapt and put safeguards in place. But their actions seem to suggest a much faster trajectory.
Yeah, you've hit on a crucial tension there. It seems like they're trying to walk this tightrope between carefully managing AI's evolution and also, pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Mm.
And it definitely raises a lot of questions about their approach to development.
Okay, now let's talk about something that sounds straight out of a sci-fi movie. The simulation hypothesis. Altman seems to actually entertain this idea that we might be living in a simulation created by like a more advanced intelligence.
Whoa.
That's mind-blowing, right?
Yeah, it is. It really makes you think, and it ties directly to these rapid advancements we're seeing in AI.
Yeah.
And its potential to create these like incredibly realistic simulated realities.
Yeah, like think about the leaps we've already made in like virtual reality and gaming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if we're already on the cusp of creating such immersive experiences, it makes you wonder, could someone else have already done it?
It really does. And it's not just some fringe theory. Like Elon Musk has said he believes in the simulation hypothesis too.
Right. He sees it as a likely outcome of all this technological progress.
Mm.
And with AI advancing so fast, it's definitely a question that's getting harder and harder to ignore.
Yeah.
But let's maybe come back down to earth for a minute and talk about the practical side of all this.
Okay, yeah, back to reality. What are the real challenges of actually building these super intelligent AI systems?
Well, one major hurdle is just the sheer computational power that's required.
Hmm.
These AI models are incredibly data hungry. They need vast amounts of processing power just to run let alone learn and generate output.
Yeah, the cost of scaling up these systems has got to be astronomical.
It is. And from what I understand, OpenAI isn't exactly profitable yet.
Right, even with products like ChatGPT Pro bringing in some revenue.
Exactly. So how are they funding all this expensive research? Well, Microsoft's a major investor,
Hmm.
and they're expecting big returns.
Hmm.
In fact, they're projecting that OpenAI's AGI products will bring in like $100 billion annually.
$100 billion.
Yeah,
Wow.
that kind of financial pressure could definitely influence OpenAI's direction.
Makes you wonder if the drive for profit might overshadow the need for, cautious and ethical development.
That's a critical question.
Yeah.
And it leads us to the bigger question of the societal impact of all this. These advancements, they're not just about technological progress. They have the potential to completely reshape every aspect of our world.
Mm,
And that's something we need to talk about.
definitely. We were just saying, like, AGI could bring in $100 billion a year.
It's a crazy number.
It is. But with that kind of money at stake, you got to think about the downsides, right?
No.
What are the risks we should be, like, really thinking about as AI gets more and more integrated into our lives?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest concerns is the impact on jobs.
Right.
As AI gets better at doing things, some jobs are just going to disappear.
Like robots replacing factory workers, that's been happening for a while.
Right. But now we're talking about AI that could do things like legal analysis, financial forecasting, even medical diagnoses, white-collar jobs.
So it's not just about jobs disappearing, it's about like whole industries changing completely.
Exactly. And those changes, they have ripple effects throughout society.
For sure. And what about politics? How will AI impact our political systems?
That's a big one. Imagine AI being used to, you know, manipulate public opinion or analyze voting patterns to, like, swing elections or even make decisions about, military strategy.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah, it's a little unsettling. It feels like we could be on the verge of this huge power shift.
Right. Not just in terms of technology, but in terms of who controls information and who gets to make the decisions.
Exactly. And that brings up the question of governance. Like, who decides how AI is developed? How do you make sure AI is transparent and accountable? Especially when it's making decisions that affect people's lives.
It feels like we need to be having some serious conversations about AI ethics, about regulation.
We do.
Uh,
But let's shift gears for a second. Let's zoom in from the big picture, like society, to the individual.
okay.
How might AI change our everyday lives, our relationships, even how we see ourselves,
That's interesting.
right? As AI gets more sophisticated, it could start playing a much bigger role in our personal lives, not just as a tool, but almost as a companion.
Hmm.
Imagine having like an AI friend that gives you emotional support,
Mm.
or an AI tutor that personalizes your education, or even like an AI therapist.
It's like AI could become part of our inner circle.
It could. And that makes you wonder, does that change what it means to be human?
Right. We've always thought of intelligence as something unique to humans.
Right.
But if AI can learn and reason and even express emotions, what does that say about us?
It challenges us to rethink our place in the world. Maybe we need to redefine what intelligence even means. Maybe there are many kinds of intelligence and we're just starting to understand them.
So it's not just about AI adapting to our world, it's about us adapting to a world with AI in it.
Exactly. And to adapt, we're going to need to be flexible, open-minded, willing to embrace new ways of thinking about ourselves and our relationship with technology.
It's a lot to take in, but it's also kind of exciting. We're talking about a future where AI could help us solve some of our biggest problems, like disease, poverty, climate change.
Absolutely. AI could revolutionize scientific discovery. Imagine AI analyzing all this medical data, finding patterns that humans might miss, leading to breakthroughs in disease treatment.
Or AI helping us design better solar panels or predict natural disasters,
Right.
or even create new forms of energy.
The possibilities are endless. But we also need to be realistic. AI is not a magic solution to everything. It's a powerful tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or bad.
So it's not just about what AI can do, it's about our own values and choices.
Right. We need to decide what kind of future we want to create with AI, and then actually work to make that vision a reality.
It sounds like we all have a role to play. It's not just up to the big tech companies or the government. It's about all of us being informed and engaged.
It is. It's about staying curious, asking tough questions, and holding those in power accountable, making sure AI is developed responsibly.
Okay, so we've talked about like the potential benefits, the risks, everything from AI transforming industries to like reshaping how we even understand intelligence. It seems pretty clear that AI is going to change our world, but like the question that keeps coming back to me is, are we really in control of this? Or is it starting to control us?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's tough. There's no easy answer. I mean, on the one hand, we're the ones building these systems, writing the code, setting the goals. We're designing AI to, like, solve our problems, make us better at things, push the limits of what's possible.
But then we see how AI can be better than humans at certain things, like make decisions that we don't get, even do things that surprise us. It feels like we're creating something that could become, well, smarter than us.
It's a real concern, definitely. And that's why it's so important to have these conversations now. While it's still early days for AI, we got to be smart about how we bring AI into our lives, into our society.
So it's not about like stopping progress or being afraid of the unknown. It's about being responsible.
Exactly.
But how do we do that? It feels so big, so complicated.
It is complex, but it's not impossible. There are the things we can do as individuals and together to make sure AI is developed and used in a way that, actually benefits humanity.
Okay, so break that down for me. What can we actually do?
Well, first off, we have to put ethics first when we're building AI. Thinking about the things like bias in the algorithms, making sure AI decisions are transparent, building in safeguards.
So it's not just about the technical stuff, but about the values that are built into these systems.
Right. It's got to align with our values like fairness, justice, respect. And we need to be having open conversations about AI and how it could impact society. We need everyone at the table. Policymakers, researchers, the public. We got to work together on this.
So it sounds like we all have a part to play in this future. It's not just up to the tech companies or the government.
Definitely not. We all need to be informed, engaged citizens, stay curious, ask the hard questions, hold those in power accountable.
Okay, so to wrap this whole deep dive up, I want to go back to our original question. Are we in control? What do you think?
I think it's up to us. AI is a tool. Like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. We get to decide what the future of AI looks like. It's not set in stone.
That's a good point. It's not like we're just along for the ride. We have a say in this.
Exactly. And I'll leave you with this thought. As AI gets smarter and becomes a bigger part of our lives, it's going to be like a mirror, reflecting back on us. What it shows us depends on the choices we make today. Will it see a species that's scared and divided? Or a species that uses its intelligence and its heart to create a better world for everyone? The answer's up to each and every one of us.
That's something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.